I've always looked at Jamsil-dong as that hyper-modern neighborhood with Lotte Tower. Even though the tower is technically in Seokchon, I never really bothered going back for another look around, unless it was for a baseball game or a concert. Maybe during cherry blossom season around Seokchon Lake, but otherwise I always felt like I already knew what Jamsil was about. Now, for this neighborhood series, I couldn't avoid Jamsil and Seokchon any longer. And I'm happy I didn't, because Jamsil surprised me so much. I came here expecting only modern Seoul. Instead, I found stories I never saw coming. I genuinely loved it.
Alright, what's up guys? I'm here with David.
Hello.
And we're about to enter Lotte Tower.
That's right, that's right. Instead of taking the conventional entrance, we'll just go through the hotel. 555 meters, I think.
Yeah, that is crazy. Because I remember when it was opened, I think that was the year that I came to Korea.
Oh yeah?
Yes, back then it was the 5th highest tower in the world. I'm not sure if it still is.
It's top 10 for sure, at least like the 7th tallest.
This is the entrance to the hotel, Signal.
Yeah.
Isn't it one of the most expensive hotels in Korea?
For sure. See if they allow for like filming to enter here. It is like this with the more expensive the hotel gets, the more rude it would be to ask us any questions. it's in that sense, it's okay. We just go as high as we can, 81. These elevators go pretty fast.
We don't get the fancy video and the whole media
or
that we get in the other elevator.
Then it would be...
That's what you pay for.
Yeah, you feel it,
feel it in my ears.
Lotte Tower is one of those places you must see at least once. Going up to one of the top floors and taking in this view is quite the experience.
Pretty much the whole Jamsil-dong right below here.
If you visit the Sky Observatory, you'll have to pay around $25 to go up. Here, it's free. Your choice. I'm always happy to see Lotte World from above, especially knowing I don't have to wait 40 minutes in line for every single ride. I even shot my Jamsil-dong intro here almost 3 years ago. I never used it because it was so lame.
And these ones are gonna get turned into like 65-story tall or something, almost all the way up to where we are right now. It's just gonna look pretty crazy here.
That is insane, because these towers, they all look very small from here, but they aren't, right? They're pretty high.
No, these are massive.
Born and raised in Sweden?
Yes, that's right. North Sweden, Piteå, small town, like 30,000 inhabitants maybe.
And now you live right over there?
Yeah, right up here.
In the Golden Building?
Yes, that's right. For 2 years now. We have 2 kids, so for them it's like pretty easy to get around kind of place. Personally, I like a lot of hills and mountains and so on, but with the baby strollers and everything, it's very good with flat ground.
And Jamsil is pretty flat.
Yeah, I think it's probably the flattest neighborhood in Korea.
Maybe you've seen David on TV before. He has lived in several places across Korea and eventually found his home in Jamsil, where he has a rather unusual hobby. Surprisingly, it's not entirely unrelated to Jamsil itself. In fact, it might just blow your mind, so stick around.
Is Jamsil still Jamsil without Lotte Tower?
No, you ask somebody who lived here before 2017, then maybe yes. But to me, no. I think it's really what marks it on the map. These are really cool.
See, you can see who made it, right? Done by a blacksmith somewhere.
Yeah. These are really cool.
So what do we have here?
So these are old, like some of the oldest pieces I think in Jamsil I have seen at least. It's statues of turtles holding some tablets. So yeah, I remember this had an interesting story because it was missing, and I think they found it again. The monument has been targeted of vandalism for a long time, regarded as a symbol of humiliating history.
This corner of Seokchon Lake holds one of the most fascinating and, for many Koreans, one of the most humiliating stories in Korean history. This is Seokchon-do, often called a monument of national shame. During the second Manchu invasion of 1636, Qing forces invaded Joseon Korea. After weeks of siege at Namansancheong, King Injo was forced to surrender here, near where these turtles now stand. A few years later, the Qing emperor ordered this monument to be erected. Its inscription praised the Qing victory and officially recorded Joseon's submission to the Qing Empire. The text was written in Manchu, Mongolian and Chinese characters. It was damaged, buried and hidden several times, but eventually resurfaced and was rediscovered after floating in the 20th century. And now they stand here, protected.
This place, what other, like Yeouido, people go to Yeouido a lot for the cherry blossoms and they come here. This is really crowded, this area.
Oh, this one too?
Yeah, like spring, if it's a weekend, you squeeze yourself to get past here.
Why are people running?
I don't know.
They want to get to the rides first?
That's cool.
They just opened.
You see it well from in here, I guess. That's cute.
Well, let me start by saying that Jamsil-dong used to be 2 islands, Jamsil-do and Burido. Yeah, I know, right? Until quite recently, actually. Take a look at this map. It shows the area in 1963. Back then, the Han River split into two branches. To the south was the Songpa River, which had originally been the main channel, while to the north was a branch called the Seokchon River. Then came a major flood in 1925. According to NamoWiki, the flow changed the course of the river, turning the Seokchon River into the main channel and leaving the Songpa River as a secondary branch. In the early 1970s, the government decided to connect the two islands and reclaim the Songpa River. Most of it disappeared beneath what became modern Jamsil, except for one section that survived as Seokchon Lake. Isn't that cool? That famous lake you're looking at right now used to be part of the Han River itself. But there's more. When the river still flowed here, the area was home to Songpa Naru, an important ferry crossing and transportation hub. It was also the site of the famous Songpa Market, once one of the country's largest markets. With all that activity came another tradition, Songpa Sunday Nori, a traditional mask performance that flourished when the market was at its peak. The market is long gone, but the mask performance still takes place here today.
So why do they hold a mask performance? What is it? Is it like a festival?
Yeah, I mean, they do this at different important times of the year. Like they do the mask performances either as like for exorcism traditionally or for just local entertainment. Mask dance is called Sunday Nori, which means like there's like a stage play. I went a few weeks ago and watched some mask dance performance here.
But why in Jamsil? Why here?
It's Yangju Byeol Sunday and there's Songpa Sunday Nori. Those two that survive mostly that are like intangible cultural heritage performances.
Yes.
The Songpa Sunday Nori performance was originally held at Songpa Naru, and it was because it was a big intersection point for trade. A lot of tradesmen passing by, and they enjoyed some comedy from the performance.
As you may know by now, on this channel we like to explore the older parts of neighborhoods. And luckily, Jamsil still has one. It even has a traditional market.
죄송합니다. 여기 시장 이름이 뭐예요? 새마을 시장.
새마을 시장?
새마을 시장.
이 시장 몇 년 됐어요?
아주 몇 년 됐어?
그 4년, 40년, 50년 그 정도요?
50년도.
As nice as markets can be, what we really love are the side alleys around them, where old Korean red brick villas line the streets and create a charming atmosphere.
They just took out the wall, have the gate out, so you have a parking spot.
What's the point? What's the point of this now? I wonder, there might be a movement coming at some point of like nostalgia, where people really miss this. It has so much character. You get like all these
lots
details.
of motifs and details, and
it's also cool because they have their like kit. So like when you get to these houses, you can recognize the bricks. They have like mega size manufacturing of certain brick brands and like tile brands. Like somebody did
that.
A lot of that.
I noticed that all these buildings have different red bricks. You see that?
Yeah, that's true. These are
all of them. I know exactly how they look from the inside because my grandmother-in-law, she lives in Gudo.
Oh, nice.
And Gudo has only this, like this, and she lives in one of these on the second floor.
It has the heating blankets on the floor.
Yeah,
and it has
that's all that you expect from a building like this. Like look at the left and compare it with the right.
Yeah.
You have the villas, the old villas on the right, and then you have the newer villas on the left. But there's no soul in these.
You see those?
But those are stones.
Yeah, look like the hette.
Yeah, they look like the hette, but you're right.
But this must be what they intended. Look at their designs.
아,
안녕하세요. 비디오 찍으면 괜찮으세요?
이 가게 몇 년 됐나요?
10년 됐어요. 10년 됐는데 내가 이걸 한 게 60년 됐어. 여기 있고 이제 여기 있고 이제 요런 게 있어요. 레이블. 레떼로 여기. 요건 내가 44년 전에 미국 가서 뉴욕 얘가 있을 때 그때부터 모은 거예요. 네. 그런데 여기 보면 이 판에 보면 여기 앞에가 A자가 붙었어. A.
You put them in alphabetical order.
Alphabetical order.
This B.
네.
B, C.
B, C, D.
와우.
B가 있으면 B가 있으면 버버리. C가 있으면은 샤넬.
근데 이거 어디에 찾아보셨어요? 옷 사서 이거
이제 내가 옷을 이제 수선하면서 리폼하면서 이렇게 이제 먹고 또 누가 갖다 주고 또 이제 들어서 내가 구하고 뭐 이래서 이렇게 쫙 이렇게 보시면 여기 보면 M.
Oh,
No?
Hermes. Yeah.
Hermes. All right.
Hermes.
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 재미네요.
내가 박물관 하려고 그래. 이런 거 박물관.
네.
박물관. 네.
박물관.
화장품?
예, 화장품.
Wow, it's makeup.
옛날 거?
7 years old.
70년?
70년. 야.
70년?
야,
70 years old makeup pack. That's cool.
와.
I love the look of this actually. 네.
박물관 같아요. 네, 너무 좋네요.
네.
아,
이런 거.
전통 옷.
이거.
오.
아, 선생님 다 손으로 만드셨어요?
야.
Wow.
샘플.
Charlie
야,
Yoon.
야.
You are Charlie Yoon.
아, 찰리 윤.
디자이너 차리윤.
아, 찰리 윤.
야.
You have the whole brand here.
아, 멋있어요.
이거 뭐예요?
이거는 드레스폼.
아,
드레스.
아 이렇게 여자?
야, 드레스폼.
아 shoulder.
아, shoulder.
Okay.
저기.
Okay.
Good guess.
It makes sense. Yeah, it's for the shoulders, of course.
몇 년?
40년 됐죠.
40년? 그때보다 지금
많이 변화가 됐죠.
그래요?
네. 사진은 똑같아요.
네. 그때 매력, 지금 매력 뭐가 제일 좋아요?
지금 더 좋죠. 외국 사람들도 많이 오고,
네.
서양 사람들, 일본 사람들, 뭐 하여튼 동양인들도 많이 와요.
아, 그래요?
진짜 맛있어요.
I've seen a lot of neighborhoods by now, but in the end, it's often the people I remember best. So many interesting personalities. None of these interactions are planned, they just seem to happen by coincidence. Moving on from the market, we noticed that Jamsil is still full of traces of the 1988 Olympics. There are sculptures like these along Olympic Dado, and of course the Olympic Stadium, which is currently under renovation. But I really like the design of this stadium.
Yeah, it's
I'm not kidding, I really like it. We even found a print of Seoul's old city slogan inside the old swimming pool building. But there's another fascinating piece of Jamsil history that I haven't shared yet, one for which we need to head to the riverside. Mulberry, that's the English word, huh? Mulberry.
mulberries.
So
OD.
you have them a lot here in Jamsil.
That's right. They're I think from here on, we'll see them quite a lot. Especially if you go down and walk 10, 20 minutes to the right here, it starts getting like long rows of those trees, and the whole, in the summer, the whole road gets bluish.
Well, better these than those stinky unhangy.
Yeah.
Oh man. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. 이거 지금 많이 내려와요.
이게 당에 좋고
네.
이게 다 이렇게 친구 지나서
It's landing on my back. See if I can get a fresh one. 맞아요. 이거 술 만들 거예요?
네.
아,
귀한 거요.
맛있을 것 같아요.
진짜 맛있어요.
Try.
깨끗해 이거.
맛있네요. So the man is collecting mulberries.
He's
and
collecting
he's going home and make sul out of it. So these are all these big trees are mulberry trees. That's pretty awesome.
But you don't want to mix them up. This looks like, look at this.
You don't want to mix them up.
He picks them from the ground, right? You should be a little bit careful.
I think this bird ate a lot of mulberry. I didn't know there were so many mulberry trees, but these are all mulberry trees.
Yeah.
Look at here, look at the white stuff.
I
You can
think
see
this is from the
silkworms.
Yeah.
It must be. I mean, this man had so many that his hands are completely purple. His whole face is just purple. Your hands too.
Yeah. He's dressed so well too, and he still gets blue everywhere.
이거 누구 죽였어요?
Wow.
선생님, 그 잠실 주민이세요?
네.
그래요? 여기 오래 사셨어요?
네. 50년.
50년.
어디 주공 5단지? 아니 어디?
네,
5단지?
아,
They built it 50 years ago. 50년 정도 이런 나무 많이 있었어요? 어디 나무? 없었어요?
근데 옛날에 조선시대.
완전 옛날에 많이 있었어요.
옛날에 이 뽕나무 많이 있어.
네.
네.
여기 그 뭐지?
그 잠실이 잠실.
네.
네.
So yes, you could say that the mulberry tree is a symbol of Jamsil, because the jam in Jamsil comes from the Chinese character for silkworm. The area was used for silkworm farming during the Joseon dynasty, and guess what silkworms love to eat? Mulberry leaves. That's why so many mulberry trees were planted here. They were essential for raising silkworms and producing silk. A bird pooped on your arm.
Okay.
But I like this commercial
Yeah.
building that comes with these chummy apartments.
Yeah.
Like what was this design meant to be? Like what is this?
Before all the signs, maybe it was at one point clean and polished.
I love these old sanghas that were built together with these old apartment complexes. They're always such a fun place to walk around, have food.
Well, you
What
see,
is
it
this
just
building,
continues.
man? This
It
looks
just
like a
runs.
factory.
Yeah, it kind of does.
This is so interesting.
Look at all the signs.
It may not look like it from the outside, but these commercial buildings, especially the ones attached to old apartment complexes from the 1970s, often hide basement paradises. Honestly, they're sometimes even better than traditional markets. Time and time again, they surprise me with delicious food and good vibes. Here it's the beef tartare bibimbap.
Oh, 감사합니다.
This is the thing that every Samsung SDS worker has eaten at one point or another. Local yuki bibimbap of Changmi apartment basement.
And you come here often?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I eat here 2-3 times a week. Korea only dish.
Yeah, that is pretty good. It's nice because it's not just only vegetables or only deep fried or only noodles.
No, it's
It's everything. So what a place.
I like all the ganpans, the old stores, and then this brand new, very hip cafe.
안녕하세요.
찾아오는 거.
아, 우리 지금은
그냥 구경하고 있어요.
구경?
네.
키에 비해서 너무 미니야.
미니, 네, 요즘 미니.
이렇게
근데 퀄리티 높아요.
퀄리티 높아?
네.
그러면 됐지 뭐.
근데 이 상가 너무 재밌어요.
재밌어요.
옛날 모습도 있고.
네, 여기 너무 좋아요.
저 여기 너무 좋아요.
맛집 많이 있어요.
먹을 거 많아.
네.
네, 맞아요. 네.
맞아요.
근데 옛날 모습 좋아요.
그렇고.
70대, 80대 그런 거. 네.
나이 드신 분도 많아.
네.
아, 젊은 사람도 여기 그 새로운 카페도 많고.
어디?
여기 지하층. 여기 저
아,
뭐지?
오해?
거기 저기.
저.
네, 저기. Feel so at home among the ajumas.
Now we know that traditional mask dances have been performed here since Jamsil was still an island, back when there was a port town here. As it turns out, David has a hobby that is somewhat related to this tradition, right in his home next to Lotte Tower.
This is a lion dance mask. I found this in Japan. It was sold on an auction in Japan.
And this is a Korean mask.
This is Korean. That was
Found in Japan?
Found in Japan.
Wow,
Yes.
look at this, guys.
It looks very Korean. You see the eyes. This
Yes.
is like very typical to their
And this is
characters.
a lion. It looks like a foolish lion.
He's like a silly cat guy.
Silly cat.
But a lot of their characters look very cartoony when they do their traditional performances, and I think that's because it's usually seen from afar.
Yeah.
So like you have a stage, and in order to like see the expressions well from afar, they had to like exaggerate a lot of the features. With the lion, they're having two people usually. Like it's a long.
Oh, yeah.
They have like another
With the
person
body.
for the body. But it's doing like something like this, and the mane flops around, so
Yes.
it's moving like kind of like this.
So that means that this mask is probably being stolen or taken or bought by Japanese during the colonial era
Yes,
and
yes.
then brought to Japan.
Yes. So this was likely brought in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So I brought it back, and I can't legally export this. This is stuck here forever. I can never export this.
Because it's heritage.
Yeah. So I did Korea big service here because this will always stay.
I was already impressed by this mask alone, but then David showed me another room that completely blew my mind.
I'm not even 100% sure that this is Korean. The person who had it said it was Korean. It's made out of a tree species that exists here, and it looks very similar to a Korean character. But the reason it's hard to tell is because it's left very few cultural hints. It is a mundungi, like a, what is it called? Leprosy. This is from this area. Songpa-ish. I mean, it's designed based on them using mulberry paper, been molded over a pot. You see that?
This was the first
This
one.
was the first one. Yangju Pyeolsande. Very iconic for Korean masks, I would
Yes.
say.
Man, Jamsil was a good one. David and his mask collection and how it all relates back to Jamsil added a whole unexpected layer to the neighborhood. Jamsil and Seokchon will go on the map as an island reclaimed. Thank you for watching and welcome to my dong.
If it was me, I could argue for like, oh, I want to live around where my hobby, is around. But I don't think my wife would buy that. Like, say, oh, I want to move here because there's a mask theater a few times a year here. I think that would be too big of an ask. But somehow I ended up where
Where your hobby is.
my hobby is.